Hey guys, it's Aria from MMOs.com with another quick weekly news recap of all major MMO news and announcements for the week ending October 2nd, 2017. Just a heads up, I've been feeling a bit sick this last week, so apologies for my voice. This is episode number 115 of the recap, and the first bit of news this week is from Kakao Games regarding Black Desert Online. PDO, which is one of the biggest MMORPG launches of recent years, launched the first part of the Kamoslivia update this last week, and as the name of the expansion implies, adds a new Kamoslivia region to the game for players to explore. The new region introduces a co-op instance called the Altar of Training, where players need to work together to defend an object from waves of increasingly difficult enemies, which culminates in a big boss fight. That they also adds a new Tier 9 mount, as well as countless other small features. Part 2 of the Kamoslivia update is expected to launch relatively soon, likely before the end of the year. Black Desert has been averaging about 12,000 or so players on Steam alone over the last 30 days, but the number has since increased since the launch of the Kamoslivia update. And speaking of Steam launches, the anime brawler MMORPG Kritika Online officially launched on Steam this last week, just 3 months after entering open beta. Mass Entertainment also rolled out a big update for the game called Fractured Memories, which introduces the new Fractured Memories dungeon to the game, as well as the new endgame Xanadu region. If you ever played Kritika, it's a Vindictus-style action MMORPG with persistent towns and instance dungeons. And since we're talking Steam launches, we gotta talk about Steam player-based numbers as well. And on this front, Kritika is doing surprisingly well. The game is averaging about 1,400 or so concurrent users this last weekend, and that's actually been on an upslope as well, so it's been doing better every single day over the last week. If you do like Vindictus or DFO style MMORPGs, give this one a try. The graphics are awesome and it runs really well. Personally though, I think there are way too many of these instance dungeons, persistent town MMORPGs. You have DFO, Vindictus, Dragon Nest, Soulworker, and literally countless others. But this one is doing well so far. Moving right along, also somewhat Steam related, Legends of Aria begins final alpha testing with a Steam launch coming soon. This latest final alpha test for the game aims to deliver a more complete experience rather than a focused test of a subset of systems, so those looking for a more full experience should give Legends of Aria a try now. The final alpha introduces 32 new abilities, 100 new weapons and armor, and over 300 plus items and crafting resources. If you never played Legends of Aria, it's the new name for the old Shards Online, and it's a buy-to-play MMORPG trying to replicate the old Ultima Online experience with open-world PvP and a skill-based progression system, rather than one with levels. Next up, some pretty big news from Blizzard as they revealed that they work on a brand new unannounced mobile MMORTS. This was revealed in a job posting on their website, and this is big news because it's the first mobile online game developed by Blizzard itself. Unfortunately, there's zero gameplay footage to show you, so we can stare at the actual job posting itself. Personally, I'm hoping it's not just another Game of War / Clash of Clans clone, or a pay-to-win style nonsense game, but given that it's Blizzard, I'm expecting something a bit fairer and more interesting, but we'll have to wait and see. They didn't announce what IP the new game will be using either, but I suspect it'll be using the Warcraft franchise, because I think the Warcraft universe would best lend itself to a mobile strategy game. Honestly though, no one should be surprised that Blizzard is working on a title like both Clash of Clans and Game of War, because those games make upwards of $1 billion a year, and Blizzard wants some of that sweet, sweet money. Here's hoping they create something fair, because everything else out there is unbelievably pay to win. And hopefully Blizzard doesn't do the same thing, but we'll have to wait and see. Next, also Blizzard related and unannounced game related. World of Warcraft design producer Stephen Frost leaves Blizzard to work for Nexon on an unannounced new PC title. The most interesting bit of news here is that Nexon is working on a brand new PC game and are willing to hire industry veterans from Blizzard, so they're taking it pretty seriously. Unfortunately, we have no word on what this new game is or when it'll be released, and given that it's unannounced right now, don't expect it to be out anytime soon. But still, new games coming from Nexon. And speaking of Nexon, they just announced a brand new mobile MMO called Overhit, developed by Nat Games, the folks behind Heroes of Incredible Tales. And yes, it's Overhit in all caps. Little is known about this new game besides what you're seeing in the short trailer in the background. It looks like a turn-based RPG to me though. This one is still a ways away though, it's expected to launch sometime in 2019. Personally, I'm still waiting for MapleStory 2 from Nexon here in the West, but I'll probably have to keep waiting as we haven't heard anything new about it just yet. RIP. MapleStory 2, when? Also in mobile MMORPG news, Avabel Online, an older mobile MMORPG that's been out since 2013, is heading to PC and consoles in the near future. I think it's only the second time I've heard of a mobile MMORPG to release on PC and console after being out on mobile, the first one being Arena of Valor. But then again, there's also Final Fantasy, well, Moby's Final Fantasy on Steam as well. But anyway, Avabel is launching on Nintendo Switch, PS4, and Steam in the near future, and will have cross-platform world between all the 3 platforms. If you never played Avabel, this is actually a legit mobile MMORPG, no autoplay nonsense, and has a large persistent world, so none of that instant stuff either. It's an actual mobile MMORPG. Up next, we have another PC MMORPG franchise embracing mobile. Flyff Legacy launched on mobile devices this last week, and yes, you heard it correctly, Fly for Fun is now out on mobile. I haven't played this one yet, but given that it's a PC version of Flyff, and the Flyff on the PC was one of the first free-to-play MMORPGs I've played, I'm definitely going to give this one a try. Based on what I'm seeing in the background though, it does feature many of the same enemies from the PC game, including same monster names, and the same world. It even features a persistent world actually, which is a nice touch. It does unfortunately have that pesky autoplay button though, but it's still Fly for Fun, and I do have to give it a try. The PC version of Flyff is actually still going as well, so that game's been out forever. The last bit of mobile MMO news this week comes from the Tokyo Game Show, where Sword Art Online Integral Factory was shown off. Unfortunately, they showed it off in the worst trailer possible, which shows absolutely no gameplay. All we know is that it'll be a free-to-play game on both Android and iOS, but we don't even know when it's launching yet. But yeah, apparently Sword Art Online Integral Factory is a thing, and that's it. It's going to happen eventually. Anyway, moving on to some real MMORPG news, Final Fantasy XIV just concluded their 39th producer live letter. I think it's 39th. Roman numerals never make sense to me, and for some reason they use Roman numerals on these producer letters. Anyway, the live letter itself talked a lot about the upcoming 4.1 update, which we've talked about in the past, but it's a huge update to the game. Most importantly, they did release a release date for it, which is actually on October 10th. Update 4.1 again is a huge update to the game, which adds a new tier of difficulty rating content called Beyond Savage, new housing plots in Shirogane, a new 24-player rate to the game, tweaks to Summoner and Dragoon, interface tweaks, and actually much more. Square Enix also released a 4.1 trailer, which you're actually seeing in the background. I'm definitely hyped for this one. Next, Cryptic Studios released an update for Neverwinter this last week, which made it a lot easier to level alt characters with new signets of patronage. The new signets are account-bound tokens that a main character can send over to their alt characters. These tokens can then be used to increase rep gain, as well as make most campaign tasks cost only half price, but players can only craft these signets of patronage for the campaigns they've already cleared. Paying players never had to worry about this in the past because they could always purchase campaign completions in the Zen market, but now free players can actually use these to advance a bit quicker as well. These aren't free though, as they'll cost about 50,000 Astral Diamonds to create. It's a small tweak to the game, but a welcomed one. Next up, last week we talked about whether Fortnite was a PUBG clone or not, but ultimately that doesn't really matter because the game is doing tremendously well. Epic Games announced this last week that Fortnite Battle Royale has reached over 1 million players already, which shows you the power of a free-to-play Battle Royale game. Hell, even Last Man Standing on Steam, the Sergei Titov crappy Battle Royale game, consistently had thousands of players online despite being fairly duked. Fortnite Battle Royale will be launching on consoles in the near future as well, which will only boost the game's player base even further. Gameplay-wise, it's extremely similar to PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, but I guess that's a good thing because that game is unbelievably huge. Actually, they broke a new record this last weekend as well. PUBG hit over 1.6 million concurrent players, making it by far the most played game on Steam. And speaking of Battle Royale, RuneScape is getting in on the action in its own way. New survival mode, Dimensions of the Damned, is coming to RuneScape on October 16th, plus a Battle Royale-esque game mode with a shrinking field of play will also be made available. Additionally, RuneScape will have all sorts of fun Halloween events and story content available, some of which was actually crafted by other players. Despite RuneScape's age, it's still one of the biggest MMORPGs out there and is doing tremendously well. Next and last bit of news this week comes from Nexon regarding Lawbreakers. The game held a free-to-play weekend, which increased the game's player base for the weekend. That number hit about 700 or so players, but I don't think it's nearly enough to save the game. At this point, I'm not sure why they're bothering with free weekends. They should just make the game fully free-to-play already. I mean, they announced that they're shutting down First Assault, but that game actually had more players online than Lawbreakers. At this point, I don't think Lawbreakers can survive unless it goes free-to-play, and even then, I doubt it'll make it, unless they can do more to retain their existing players. But hell, I could be wrong. Maybe they'll turn things around and remain buy-to-play, but I sincerely doubt it. Anyway guys, that's it for MMO News this week. Thank you for bearing with my voice, though it did clear up towards the end of the video. Hopefully I'll see you guys tomorrow for the podcast. Later guys.